Good afternoon, honorable ministers and colleagues, distinguished colleagues, fellow participants, ladies and gentlemen. I will do my best as well to try, and what we do, with PowerPoint is we try and cut down half the time by having people read and at the same time speaking. So what I'm going to do is I'm very cognizant of the time. If I speak very quickly, you'll forgive me, but what I will try and do is explain what's on the slides as I speak to them. It's my privilege to participate in this session and the particular role of collaboration and innovation and the creation of knowledge. The developed and developing worlds are both focused on the role that post-secondary education plays in driving economic growth and global competitiveness. That goal does not belong to any one part of the world. That goal belongs to everybody. Some places in the world have had a longer opportunity to grow the depth and breadth of their institutions. Others are beginning that journey. Some are in the middle. The reality is that every country that is looking to its future understands that sustainable, world-class institutions are a prerequisite for strong and stable economies and governments. And that is why it is important for us to look at building blocks for these institutions and what tools and foundations are required to ensure that world-class institutions remain not only relevant, but continue to create knowledge, growth, and prosperity. I'm sorry, there's an echo. So if we talk about knowledge, I'm sort of going to try and describe the slides as we go through quickly. The essential role of the university is to create knowledge, to transfer knowledge, and to apply knowledge to society's most pressing problems. But it is not enough to create knowledge that remain in labs. Knowledge also have to serve a wider purpose. The application of knowledge results in more efficient ways of producing goods and services and delivering them more effectively and at lower cost to a greater number of people. And the application of knowledge can lead to new ideas for a civil society and an equitable and a peaceful world. If we talk about interdisciplinary collaboration, higher education is becoming integral to the innovation base of the regions it serves. However, in today's complex world, universities, as I said earlier this morning, cannot exist in isolation. They need to collaborate with a variety of stakeholders to achieve results and create value. And within the university, disciplines must interact and inform one another, as many of the new discoveries and solutions will be at the intersection of these disciplines. And of course, universities must always strive for excellence in their role of creating knowledge and harnessing it for the greater good. Only by striving for excellence that is tested, as my colleague Phil Batty talked about, and measured, will we generate the kind of innovations that will turn to benefit society. Now I'm going to turn to the subject of how we build high-quality universities. And there are, if you can picture a slide with building blocks, there are 4 building blocks. The universal building blocks are excellent faculty, students, research, but in addition, building a world-class institution requires resources and capital to foster excellent research performance, and it requires the measurement of outcomes. The building blocks begin with students and faculty, and I'm proud to say that our students, over 60,000 undergraduates and about 15,000 graduate students per year, are some of the very best in the world. In 2012, 20% of our first-year students were international students. Our alumni, about 500,000 graduates in more than 170 countries, provide the university with invaluable support and connect the university to innumerable networks. However, the reputational foundation of any university is the strength of its faculty. And at the University of Toronto, we have almost 12,000 faculty members. When the academic appointees are strong, they create a culture of excellence that enables recruitment of outstanding students. Research and teaching at the University of Toronto are inextricably linked, and we have strong commitment to undergraduate education. In fact, among our full-time professors who have won major research awards, including the Nobel Prize, more than 90% teach undergraduate students. The transfer of knowledge from our best faculty to our undergraduate students is incredibly important. It means that students are getting the best possible experience and that we are preparing the next wave of great researchers, innovators, and global leaders from the moment they take their first class. We do not wait until they're already successful graduate students. Now, excellence in research and application. I have a bottle of insulin and I have a BlackBerry up on a slide. Picture that. In addition, institutes of higher learning have an obligation to help translate their discoveries and insights for the benefit of the public good. So consider the impact of the discovery of insulin, the miracle diabetes drug that came out of the University of Toronto medical labs and went into commercial production across the world. And how do I get down now? Let's keep going. Well, it's showing here, but it's not showing there. I'm going to keep going. One of its discoverers became the first Canadian to win the Nobel Prize in medicine, forever tying together research excellence and the University of Toronto. Let's try this. Don't worry about it. All right, let's consider the effect of a global innovator like RIM, whose former CEO was a University of Toronto alumnus. Here we are. We're maybe getting there. We'll live with building blocks. RIM's BlackBerry revolutionized the mobile industry, the way we do business, the way we communicate, the way we socialize. It has made a tremendous economic contribution to Canada, supporting thousands of jobs and hundreds of related technology companies. There we go. Okay, it's coming. So let me focus for a moment on the issue, if we go back to our 4 building blocks, of resources and capital. It will not surprise anyone to hear that when resources are required, and our honorable ministers, I'm sure, will agree, governments need to be at the table. At the same time, from the perspective of a public university setting, and universities in Canada are public institutions, I know that government is not a bottomless pit. And we have to look at resourcing from many sources. In fact, I myself spent 10 years as a deputy minister in the government, and I understand the requirement to balance resources. At the University of Toronto, for example, only approximately 47% of total operating revenue comes from the government, and the rest must be infused from students, donors, research grants, and other sources. But building sustainable world-class institution also requires measurement of quality and excellence. How do we know we're having an impact? How do we know we're producing the results that we wish? And this is where I firmly believe that world-class institutions must measure quality and excellence through benchmarking against their peers and against best practices. And despite the methodological limitations of rankings, which some might argue, they are still a valuable performance indicator. It is generally agreed that well-ranked universities are recognized in part for their superior outputs. They produce well-qualified graduates who are in high demand in the labor market. They conduct leading-edge research published in top scientific and other journals, and in the case of science and technology-oriented institutions, they contribute to technological innovations through patents and licensing. And research has shown that excellence at top-ranked universities can be accredited to a high concentration of talent in terms of faculty and students, and added sufficient resources. As I said previously, sorry? Oh. Okay, well, the one before talks about all rankings of world-class, of the University World Rankings. And I think my point here is that one can no longer ignore the impact of World University Rankings. So the forgive me for being immodest for a Canadian. I can do it, so I can get back. There we go. So Canadians are generally quite modest, despite some of the topics of rankings that my colleague just mentioned. The University of Toronto is ranked among institutions in the top 30 of all the noted ranking measures in the world. And that's due to the strength of our faculty, which in turn accounts for the fact that the University of Toronto has a global reputation in multiple fields of scholarship, and other performance measures underscore. Just go on. But it's more than that. And this speaks to Gujarat and vibrant Gujarat and our role here today. In addition to measuring the excellence of institutions, one can also measure an ecosystem within which a university resides. And you can see here how Toronto stacks up against the rest of the world on a variety of international rankings of cities on various indicators, including smart cities, entrepreneurship, livable cities, finance, innovation, business competitiveness, economic power index, risk to employers. And if we heard from your First Minister this morning, that's really what it takes. You can't be a standalone excellent institution in a barren environment. And I think it's that ecosystem that one needs to talk about. And the ecosystem is important because a major factor in attracting top talent, which is really what we're all about. We're about people. Top talent in faculty and researchers and top students is the location of the institution. At the end of the day, institutions are about people, and the ideas and the people are attracted by all the factors in this slide. Now, increasingly, in today's complex global world, additional components are necessary to build world-class institutions, and they are interdisciplinarity, diversity, entrepreneurship education, partnerships and collaboration, and access to technology to drive innovation. And the big questions that we are all grappling with, all of us around the world, cross boundaries of disciplinary expertise. And the important discoveries today are made at the intersection of disciplines. And faced with the world's most complex issues, no university, no matter what its aspirations are to be comprehensive, has all the necessary expertise. No government can on its own develop the policies and build all aspects of sophisticated networks of research. Such constraints require scholars in many fields to work in large, collaborative, interdisciplinary, and often nationally or internationally networked teams. Research and scholarship must be strategically embedded in a framework that is at once interdisciplinary, national, and global in order to contribute significantly to sustainable research programs. For instance, at the University of Toronto, approximately 40 interdisciplinary programs are offered at the graduate level. Things like Masters of Global Engineering, which bring together engineering, medicine, management, Munk School of Global Affairs, etc. Now, I have run out of time. I would have gone through more about partnerships and the whole processes of innovation. I will say that one of the great benefits of that ecosystem is diversity. And one of the things that I think everybody will know is that Toronto is now the most diversity in the world. Almost 50% of Torontonians were not born in Canada. And I venture to say, we're not, yes, that's absolutely right, almost 50%, 49%. I venture to say if I ask people to put up their hands here, how many people have a relative or a close friend in Toronto, we would see many, many, many people in this room. I will end by saying that it's really about universities today. Top-ranked, comprehensive, world-class universities are about complexity, about managing complexity, navigating interdisciplinarity, multi-nodal partnerships. They're difficult, they're crucial, they're messy. This is not an easy game, but we're all in it for the right purpose. And the right purpose is to add value to our countries, value to our communities, and frankly, values to the world. And value to the world comes from the kind of experiences that we will have here today. So thank you very, very much for listening to me, and I look forward to having a chat with you.